Hi, Angel. You do not have to struggle. I'm telling you, once you recognize your unfair advantage, it's like a cheat code to help you become so amazing at whatever it is you want to do, and you'll get there faster and better than everybody else because you are the only person who can do it like that. And if you think that the world is unfair, I mean, true, but that mindset is not going to help you. Instead, I want you to turn that script around and become the unfairness that exists in the world. Whatever society has deemed to be your weakness, you turn that into your biggest advantage. Using your unfair advantage to the max is you being your most authentic self. And you're scared of the great unknown, then you best believe that you are also the great unknown that's coming. So the world should be scared of you and not the other way around. You are the storm. So act like one because everything has a system and formula. So today we're going to talk about the cheat codes that can quickly help you find what you're ridiculously and uniquely good at so you can use it to your advantage. Everyone has some form of privilege, and our lack of awareness around how to use it properly can also be the reason why we fail. So this is where we begin, because you might as well recognize it. Your privilege can look like the environment that you're in currently, or born into, or your identity, or your gender, background, the community that you grew up in, or even your talents and skill sets. If you're very good with animals or people, for example, whatever it is something that you're really good at or that you love and it interests you the most, something that gives you endless joy. You have to recognize that it is a privilege to care so much about something, to be able to love things and love your identity and what you do, and that's the goal. Sometimes the tough circumstances that we're in can also be a privilege, and even more so, honestly, but I'll get to that later. But of course, you don't have to be born with privilege. You can also cultivate it for yourself through ways like gaining knowledge and self-awareness of what makes you who you are. You can also gain it by association through networking or even a strategic alliance. You can also buy privilege if you have the money or resources like VIP, premium, first class, baby. It can even be as simple as something that you genuinely love to do all day long and you don't see it as a lot of effort because it is a huge value add to your life or an investment that you just love to work on. Working on your hobbies and the skills that you learn from that. Everything that you have that benefits you, that you enjoy, ultimately becomes your privilege, and it can be your unfair advantage. Usually our best kinds of unfair advantages are something that you're just so incredibly passionate about, you absolutely cannot shut up about it, and you're also willing to dedicate a lot of time and energy into that very thing in order to grow into someone that you're going to be very proud of because it becomes your life mission and that is your main quest. Usually we don't just have one unfair advantage, we have a combination of a few different things because we're all complex and layered beings from different backgrounds, and that's what makes us unique. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is May, and this is the kind of stuff that I love to talk about all day long. So my combination of unfair advantages are my communication skills, my fascination with human nature, and the fact that I was also so-called an ugly duckling who was never seen as important by anybody. I used to always be the backup plan and the target of bullying, both in school and the workplace. So I saw a lot of power from remembering the way that I was treated and being able to break free from all of that to live a life that I love, and people say that is the best revenge, but also no revenge. Anyways, I love the old me, by the way, because she wanted to change for the better, and that's the most important thing. A lot of people don't want to change anything about themselves, even though they're not happy. And I think that's really sad. My channel is for people who want to do the work to improve their lives. So if that's you, I make content for you every week. And if you want to meet up with me and with people who are also into self-betterment at an insanely gorgeous Greek island for a week, sign up on my website. I'm opening up my group trip for 2026, so sign up. Your limitations can also become your biggest cheat codes. So let me explain what I mean by this. On my channel, I always talk about how every single weakness that I have, or my failures, or the things that I get bullied for, or whatever it is, I get to turn all of those things into my strengths. And those are also the same reasons why I succeed. So I strongly believe in my message that if I can do that, then other people might also learn to believe in themselves, even in their failures. Sometimes our privilege or unfair advantage is also a struggle that you had to overcome, your weaknesses, or even the very identity that you thought was your oppression. Only if you allow it, that can also end up becoming your greatest advantage and the best way to stay true to yourself. Even if you're someone of the most oppressed identity in the world, that is only what the world is telling you to keep you down. That is not what your ancestors want for you. be someone you can be proud of despite all of that. If I was so paralyzed about my oppression and the fact that I grew up in a difficult situation and other people have a much better head start in life than me, then I will never accomplish anything. If you feel sorry for yourself in any way by your so-called weaknesses, then you have to be the one to overcome them by changing your situation and turn things around, because the world thinks that you are meant to fail and yet you can prove them wrong. When you're the one who can break the cycle, you're doing it not just for you, but also for the people who are just like you. You have to realize that you are the underdog, and the underdog always wins at the end. I have seen some really incredible people flourish beautifully because they are proud of the fact that they can become a voice for their community, and because they see their identities as a strength and not something to be oppressed by, so that they can use their voice to fight for justice, and people will really get behind that because of collective liberation. Meaning, if one person can win, then we all win. And trust me, nobody wants to support someone who doesn't have to work a day in their lives and has everything served to them on the platter, and they don't really need to put in any effort to succeed at all because they benefit from a system that puts everybody else down. Every single rugged hero out there usually has a backstory that's the most difficult story you've ever heard. Even Batman, who was born into a very wealthy family, had something very, very tragic happen to him in order for him to become Batman. So no matter what challenges you have to live with or whatever limitations that you have, make that the reason why you succeed, because you know what you had to overcome to get to this point. So start a list of everything that you struggle with, your flaws, your limits, things that you don't like about yourself or don't like about the world, and then look at this list. Every single thing on there, especially the ones that you feel really strongly about, how can you turn that into the same reason why you succeed? In life, you have to trust yourself the most, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but not everybody knows how to cultivate that trust. You may have had mentors or older siblings or coaches, but ultimately, you are your greatest guide. You have to trust that nobody knows you better than yourself when it comes to anything to do with the way that you want to live your life. Only you know what you're best at. Nobody can tell you how to live, not even this video. And in fact, the smartest way to approach videos like mine is to take note of something that resonates and stays with you. And that's it, because at best, other people might show you the way towards your goals, but nobody can tell you exactly what to do. And I'm saying this as someone who's getting certified as a life coach. Like, at the end of the day, you have to be responsible for your own life. And so you need to be able to trust yourself to do the right things for yourself. Remember, you have inner wisdom, and everybody has it, but not everyone's tapped into it. And it looks like your intuition, your values, your nervous system, and the more you actively work with all three and stay in touch with them constantly, the more you will trust yourself and your gut. And yes, even your literal gut is linked to intuition. Nobody has lived your life or understands what you're good at and what your values are better than you. Nobody really knows about your inner world the way that you do. So I want you to recognize the level of power that you have instead of following advice from outside sources without learning to keep your unique situation in mind. Because everything else is only a tool for guidance and confirmation. And the worst thing is to blindly follow advice. When I was younger and honestly a little bit naive, I used to look at advice in all the wrong places. Like, if you've done the same, listen. Because I would scroll for hours online. I'll look for something that sounds like my exact situation, hoping that some random stranger's life story was somehow magically applied to me. And we don't trust ourselves enough. That's why we do this. Or, I would unload on my friends venting about serious stuff like breakups or family drama. And of course, they were always on my side, and that's the problem. Venting feels good in the moment, but it's never actually helpful. You're not thinking clearly enough, your friends only hear one side of the story, and venting just simply drains everybody, including you. That's why I don't allow it on my Discord server, because I rather encourage people to find healthier ways to deal with stress. Things like journaling or even better therapy. Because unlike friends or random advice, a therapist doesn't hold grudges, it doesn't pick sides, and usually they help you work through exactly what is happening. So today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp, and they're on a mission to make starting therapy easier. Unlike friends and strangers who mean well but they don't actually fully understand your situation, therapy gives you a safe space with someone trained to help you through what you're going through. Therapy is really about long-term growth and support, and that's why it works over all of these other short-term solutions. BetterHelp designed their therapist match commitment to make that possible. BetterHelp uses over a decade of matching expertise, clinical experience, and your preferences to match you with someone who makes sense for you. And if it's not working out, you can always switch anytime at no extra cost. Some of you may have tried therapy before and thought it wasn't helpful, and sometimes that's because you haven't found the right therapist yet. So this year, I actually switched therapists 3 times, and I'm glad that I trusted the process because my current therapist is amazing. She's a doctor, a psychologist, who practices schema therapy, which is exactly my type of therapy, and she even talks to me about astrology and spiritual awakenings. And the best part about her is that she knows exactly how to step into different roles depending on what I need. Sometimes she'll be really grounding and firm and call me out when I'm stuck in bad cycles. And that balance of understanding and accountability has helped me make huge progress. So if you've ever felt stuck with advice that didn't help, BetterHelp makes it easy to find the right kind of support. Get started today by clicking on the link in my description or by visiting betterhelp.com/MayAliceSuzuki, and you will get 10% off your first month of therapy. And forget about the rules. Yes, it's fine not to play by the rules sometimes. It's fine. Especially if you're like me and you come from a culture of having to follow all the rules always, or else you get hammered down. Like, I mean, don't harm anyone, don't break the law, obviously, but you can always bend the rules by taking a shortcut. It's like walking a desire path, which is a funny concept actually. It's like the path of least resistance that people create over time when someone builds a road that nobody wants to walk on because it's not well designed or it's too rigid. So a new path forms, and that's the path of the people. No rules are absolute because the people who created these rules are also not absolute or may not even have your best interest at heart. Like, rules are only guidelines for a system of order and control. People who play by all of the rules are also very predictable, very easy to control, easy to manipulate, and easy to exploit. So the only two types of people out there who tell you to follow all of the rules all the time are either indoctrinated in them themselves, or they're trying to break you down into a small obedient unit of a whole so that you're very easy to predict, like an NPC, because that's what rules are for. It's for NPCs. In fact, many people who become really successful in life encourage you not to follow the rules, because not only did they not do that for themselves, it also helped them stand out from all of the other NPCs, and that sounds like an unfair advantage to me. I think about zigzag. When everyone goes zig, you go zag. We should also examine the systems that we're being indoctrinated into when we play by the rules. Like, for example, being the smartest person in school might help you with getting into academia or into certain kinds of professions like law or medicine, but just because you're a straight A student doesn't mean you're going to succeed in life or find your purpose. School's not going to teach you how to do any of that, and yet that's what society tells us is the most important thing, which is to do well and learn all of your math equations. And I'm telling you, I have 2 university degrees, and yet I have not retained a single thing from my years of torture in all of my math classes. And I can tell you today, it still does not matter to me because nothing in my life has anything to do with math aside from when am I getting that money. School always taught me how to become indoctrinated into a system and learn good reading comprehension and the fact that I love psychology, and that's it. After I graduated, it took me years and years to undo a lot of the damage, including me minding other people's business too much because we're forced to, or worrying too much about what people in authority thinks of me, or having my self-worth be tied to how well I score in the grading system that doesn't even benefit everyone, or even take other things into account like neurodiversity, for example. So yeah, if any of this resonates with you, then please, by all means, bend the rules and do what you have to do because the system is skewed against you anyway. Use chaos to your advantage, and growth always begins in chaos. You cannot transform anything without some kind of disruption, and sometimes you really do have to break down before you break through. And if you're afraid of that chaos, then you'll never grow past where you are right now. So think about it. The first time that you try something new, it's always hard, it's awkward, it's messy, it feels weird, and that is the definition of chaos. But that's also what shift looks like. So instead of resisting it, expect it by inviting it into your life and allow a bit of room for some chaos to happen. And there are many public figures that take chaos even further. Like, for example, you look at politicians or celebrities or even influencers, they know that a bit of messiness gets people talking. And as long as people argue and debate over it endlessly, it works towards their agenda and it can really skyrocket their fame and their money. You might not like this, but you cannot deny that everyone has a different calling. For some people, it's about healing and bringing people together and helping them change and realize their power. For other people, their calling might literally be to become an agent of chaos or to create change very quickly so that they can tear down old systems in order for a new world to rise from the ashes. Anyways, chaos itself is not a moral issue. It's not good or bad. It's just simply energy. And the way that you channel that chaos will also define your path, whether you're using it as an agent for your unfair advantage or to go through that chaos in order to find your purpose. So don't be scared when things feel unstable. It's just simply a fact of life and you're only better for it. And that instantly is proof that something new is being built and change is happening. And here is the truth. Nobody cares. So work hard anyway. Nobody cares if you win or if you fail, or at least not more than they should. People are just too busy with their own lives, worrying about themselves, or, they're thinking about how you can benefit them. That's just facts. There's no use sugarcoating it. So if we spend too much energy worrying about whether everybody else is winning or failing or not, that means you don't care enough about yourself. So yeah, of course, there's nuance, right? The loving people in your life, for example, may care about you, but nobody's gonna care more than you. The only person who has to live with your decisions every single day is you. That's why I love this quote. Nobody cares, work harder. And the point isn't to isolate yourself and grind forever. The point is, if you're constantly comparing yourself to people at the top of their game, people who are years ahead of you, then of course you're gonna feel behind. But the truth is, those people only got to the top because they know what they're good at and they persisted. They worked through years where they're not getting any recognition, nobody believed in them, nobody cared, and yet they still worked. And that ability to be persistent anyway, despite everything, is going to be your unfair advantage. It's the relentless pursuit of you pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone and the audacity to demand more from your own life because you know you deserve better. So you're going to do something about it, even when nobody cares about you. The ones who keep going are going to be the ones who win. So stop comparing. And speaking of comparing, you need to realize that you're one of one, okay? There's 8 billion people in the world, but nobody has your unique combination of gifts and your circumstances, and those things are your unfair advantage. So there's no comparing. If you're a competitive person and you keep focusing on beating other people constantly, then you will always be looking over your shoulder and you will never feel good enough and you will never be satisfied with what you have. That means you're constantly on a hamster wheel, and that is so exhausting. And if you keep heading down that path, then the only way that you can succeed is to become a better version of whoever you're competing with, which is ridiculous. Like, sure, you can become a better version of them, but it will be so fake because you risk betraying your authentic self by doing that. So why are you even comparing? It's worthless. You will never be a better version of someone else, especially when it comes to our abilities. There will never be such a thing as comparing apples to apples. Other people can never do things the way that we do it. Like, even if we're playing the same sport and we're in direct competition with each other, there's no such thing as a level playing field unless literally every single condition is the same, meaning you're just playing against your own clones, which again, impossible, ridiculous. The point is, there will never be someone else out there who's just like you or have the same set of skills or gifts that you have or do things the way that you do it. Other people can try to copy you or imitate, but they will never be as good as you. So an even better thing to do is to just simply do what other people aren't doing in your own way, on your own terms, so that nothing can compete with you. And then people will pay attention to that because you will stand out from the crowd. You see what I'm getting at? The only person you should actually be in fierce direct competition with is the person that you were yesterday, and that is so true. And yes, glowing up can be a very unfair advantage because at some point after hitting my own rock bottom and feeling so defeated, like that's the exact moment that I realized glowing up is a cheat code to life. And that becomes your unfair advantage because first of all, the world cannot ignore someone who has been through a lot of hardship. Even more so, the world cannot ignore beauty. We all know that. Pretty privilege is real beyond just the physical because you cannot only rely on physical beauty, but you cannot deny that it opens doors. It's only the beginning. It's your first impression that you do take care of yourself because you respect yourself and you show effort in your presence. The ability to successfully transform yourself is an unfair advantage because again, not everybody wants to change and not everybody can do that. I have succeeded not only because of my glow up, but also what I've learned from working on myself. And that's why I still go so hard on it. And the glow up is only the beginning because now I can also tell the difference between the people who try and the people who don't try. The people who understand the value of investing in themselves, they always end up very happy and glowing and positive. But then at the same time, they're also tough and wise because of what they learned from being in that so-called ugly duckling phase. It makes you so mentally strong that life just simply becomes easy mode because you've already been through all of the hard stuff. I'm not even kidding. Like, at least in my observations, because people love to be mean online. They will always have something to say about it. And occasionally I get weirdos who click on my videos because I'm pretty and then they comment things like, oh, you had it so easy because you're pretty. And you know what? they're right. But what they don't realize is that I earned that pretty privilege. The real ones, my OGs, you know my story. You guys know how hard I worked for it, how much I had to overcome, and how much I had to build myself up to even get here. And there's so much more that I need to tell you, and I'll tell you about my journey once I'm ready to do that. In due time, you guys, the point is the glow up wasn't just handed to me. I had to grow very tough skin from being bullied. I had to learn to defend myself and to heal myself from traumas. And perhaps I'm not even denying this. I almost feel like I have to build a conventionally attractive face just so that I can protect myself and learn how to practice beauty in life. And that's how you can get a beautiful life, by living in beauty. Duh. I stand by the fact that beauty is an art form, and the people who live like that, they are artists. And now also I get to show other people that it's possible to glow up by showing them my before and after. But it's so much more than what you see, guys, because glowing up isn't just about the physical, it's also the ultimate investment in your potential. It's all encompassing in the physical, mental, and spiritual. When you glow up, you're nurturing your inner garden until it blossoms, and you're proving to yourself that you can meet your highest potential. And literally, that's a huge advantage in life. So affirm with me in the comments, I will meet my highest potential. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.